Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of SSRG and Your View. And today we're talking about a very sensitive topic, and it is about child marriage. And that's just what I'm going to say because we have a lot to say. So we're going to immediately dig in. Child marriage, what is it? What are the consequences? Because I cannot even say benefit. I don't think there is any benefit in my opinion. And what is way forward? That is what we'll be discussing. So relax, sit down, and hear our scholars.
So I think that with regards to relationships and marriage, I think there is a bigger issue with how would I say men want women to look as young as possible. Like if you look at, for instance, if you look at Chinese social media, one of the things you would find is that all the women are using filters that make them look like children and babies. So, and then if you look all over the world, I don't want to mention names. There is a lot of things that is happening with people who are pedophiles and all that. But I'm not going to mention names or call out anything.
We know them.
People know all these
We
things
know.
already. So, but we're not going to talk about all those things. Let's talk about the one that concerns us. And that's because we try to use child marriage to legitimize this whole thing that we are talking about. And based on what you said, I do not think that there is a benefit to it,
Yeah.
both physically, psychologically, mentally, biologically, right? So if we are talking about physically and biologically, a child's brain is still developing, right? They still need time to develop, to know the world, to understand the world, to know what is left from right. And then you push that child into marriage, especially with an older person, an adult, right? It would expose that child to a lot of exploitation, abuse, control, and all that, right? And if this child eventually gets pregnant, they can develop fistula problem, they can develop different health problems. There is increased rate of mortality, like motherhood mortality, when it's an underaged person that is trying to give birth. So
Yeah.
I do not see a world where child marriage has any benefits to it in our world today. Maybe in when we are still evolving and we don't know left from our right, but in
Right.
our
Yeah.
world today it makes absolutely no sense for
No
an
sense.
older
Yeah.
person to want to get married to a child.
Before the other scholars take say something, can somebody actually explain what child marriage is? Let's come with that
It's
understanding.
a marry I mean, I can. That means we
Yes,
have
go ahead.
definitions for who a child is under 18 years. So, child marriage is when you marry out a child who is under the age of 18 to someone.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's
it
Okay.
depends actually,
on
because
the.
different countries and different states and provinces
But
have
that's
laws. As
yeah.
like even in the US, there are states in the US that allow I
I
think
think
17
you
years or
said
18 years to get to or 16 years to get married. So
Because that's a caveat we should be very clear about. What is the law saying? What is right according to
act-
developmental stages and
But
all?
so to me personally, I know I should keep quiet. But to me, I do not think that when we are talking about child marriage, it should be a law thing. Because just because something is according to the law doesn't make it right.
yeah.
Right? Because if you look at a lot of oppressive things, there were times when they were legal. There was a time actually you can see in Afghanistan they made a law that a man can beat his wife as long as he doesn't break the woman's bone. That it's a law, right? Does it make it right because
No.
it's a law, right? So even using the chronological age of 18 or 16 or
Yeah.
whatever, like in northern Nigeria, the law about is quite
Something.
different from the south. So I don't think it's a law thing. I think it should be a moral thing that we have to express some level of objectivity towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go on, others.
yeah,
Hope you were
I,
saying
I
something.
think that when we're talking about child marriage, it's important that we call it a crime against humanity.
Yes.
Like, I
I
think
agree.
it's important, like, we
Criminalized.
explicitly state that it's a crime against humanity because even someone who, let's say, a perceived adult, like someone who is already 18 years, they go into marriage, and a few years down the line, they say, "Oh, I was still
A
a child. I
child,
didn't really know
exactly,
much."
from experience.
And then now to think of a child that we know is still developing, both mentally, physically, like the body have not fully developed, the mind is still developing, the child is still trying to navigate the world and even know who they are. And then you engage them in marital
Union.
activities and stuff like
Yeah.
I feel like it's dangerous, it's a crime, it's something that they should be prosecuted for. Like, I feel like it's not something we take like mildly and we're trying to explain and talk to you and appeal to your conscience why it's bad. I feel like it's something that people should be prosecuted for, because I feel it's a crime.
I
Yeah.
think
That's my
Yeah.
own
I
take
want I
on it.
wanted to comment. Another thing is because like people would usually make excuses for why they engage in child marriages. I think I've seen narratives or like people talk about how they want to protect the child from sexual, so maybe like in rape prone areas.
Actually, when I was doing research with IDPs, and there some people mentioned a lot of child marriages happening, and I asked why they are letting their children marry, and they were like, well, other people's children are getting into prostitution,
Prostitution or
so
sexual
instead
immorality.
of letting my child get into
So
prostitution, I rather marry out that child.
when your child gets married, they will still enter into that sexual act. So I don't
So
even
that's
understand.
that's just a complication I just wanted to point out, so that you just make the silly excuse that you're pushing them to child marriage because of these other things, and then they go into that marriage unprepared, usually with an older person, and then they face all these issues, which is related sometimes like child spacing. They don't have rights over child spacing. They don't have rights even over the number of children they can give birth to. They also don't have rights over safe sex, which can also lead to other issues like infectious disease like HIV and all whatnot. So it's definitely,
Most
like Ed said.
times,
Yeah,
most times, Emmanuel, do you want to say something before I
I
go
do
on?
want to say something,
So,
but I would
okay, I have to say now because I wanted to give Emmanuel, he's not spoken. So, most times, in looking at child and then marriage, let me look at marriage. Marriage is a very difficult thing, it is evident. Marriage is a full time job times two. And so, it is a lot of work.
So why are
And when we
you
talk
telling
about,
people to do it?
I don't. It's crazy, but let's. It's really
Well,
crazy.
it's
So when we talk
killing when you
about
find the
So
right
let's start
partner.
advocating no more marriage, no more
right,
No,
marriage,
marriage.
no
no,
more
let me
marriage.
land.
Agree.
I
Let
was
me
going to
land.
point that
I feel like
out.
we even need that advocacy to settle some people's head, because the more we shout no more marriage, you can balance it and then
Exactly.
reach 50. So, but
Join me.
what I'm saying in essence is that when we talk about this child marriage, we look at the percentage and we see that women are more affected, because we do not see a 15-year-old man marrying a 36-year-old
15-year-old
woman.
boy, a boy,
15-year-old boy, because he's a boy, marrying a 36-year-old man,
girl,
girl, woman. But what you
woman.
normally see in those cultures and in those laws that say, there is a law that says that once a child starts menstruating, they can marry. There is a law that says that once a child is married, they are an adult. How ridiculous. And this is a law of a country, that once a child is married, they're automatically an adult. And that is why they have refused to criminalize child marriage. And so why is it higher on women? Because if a boy of 15 years is marrying a girl of 15 years, even in the old time, it's like, okay, they are not aware, they don't know what they are doing. But this is,
I can give a shot to answer your question why it's higher
yeah.
on women. It is tied to the patriarchy and sexism, which in our current world today is connected to other systemic injustices. Because, for instance, if you look at, there was a study that I and Dr. Onalu did, and one of the things that we found out is that a lot of people who are giving their children out to marry, we are the poorer people who believe that their children getting married would make them have extra
Economic
source of income,
benefits.
because the person would start giving money to their children. Many of them talked about not being able to send their children to school, so they just want to marry the person off. So which means that they start seeing their girl child as an expendable commodity that they can use for transaction, so they can get money or get other things. So I think it is all child marriage is connected to a lot of other systemic injustices. That if we want to address child marriage, we need to amplify people's power, both economic power and social power. That's what I
So
feel.
I
Call
think
that
also
marriage
like
Can I?
trafficking.
when you to answer your question about like why we see it more like men marrying younger girls
Young,
than
yeah,
vice versa.
children.
Like let's even go away from child marriage. Let's look at marriage itself. Most time you hear concept of it is the man marrying the woman, not the woman marrying the man. It is not like two people are marrying themselves. It's
Like
I
Emma said
am the
in the
one
other
that married you.
video,
So even
a
aside
woman
the
that I
child
married
marriage,
with my money.
Be my money.
so even aside the child marriage discourse, marriage in itself is considered like the man is the one that is taking the action to marry. And so
Oh.
it is always because even when you hear women, it is a woman is always ready. So it is when the man is ready with finances and everything, then he goes and pick a wife.
Mm.
So because men are the ones responsible for, paying the dowry, doing it. So it is
That's a
unlikely that
social
you see,
construct.
yes, it's unlikely that you see a 15-year-old boy who have not gotten the money, who have not attained anything to say, I want to go and marry. So I think the way
Yeah.
the society is
Emma has
structured in
finished
itself,
loading.
I
you
have an
can
exception, and the
you
man could give us the example. I have an exception because
Emma don't load
there,
finish.
there is a culture.
Make
There
you
is a
just play,
culture that
just play.
says we need to perpetuate our lineage, and even a young boy without no resources, they look for a young girl and marry that young girl. There are a lot of types of child marriage. A man with no resources because he's they need to continue a cycle or whatever, no job, nothing, cannot even know what is taking care of a family, and is married,
Mm. Yeah.
right? So Ima,
one that
let's
is
hear
ready
your
with
thoughts, please.
family.
Well, I wasn't loading. I wasn't loading anything actually.
You were enjoying
Bazooka.
our
I was just,
conversation.
Bazooka.
I was just, yeah, because you all are making sense, and when I participate in conversations like this, it kind of shifts my mind a bit because it makes me think, why is it that in 2026 we still have all these things? Because this child marriage you are talking about, for example, the UNICEF report shows that 12 million child marriages happen each year.
Each year.
Per year, 12 million every year. And then how? We claim to be developed, we claim to be everything, but there are some unimaginable things that still happen in our neighborhoods every day. And it's really bad. So just like Hope said, that child marriage should be an outright crime against humanity. It's not even negotiable. Whatever reasons people are giving, I don't want them to be where I don't want them to be whatever. It doesn't make sense. And what Prince says is really important because when you do grassroots research, you will understand that coupled with illiteracy and other problems, people push out their girl children into this kind of marriage because they feel they are protecting them or they
Yeah.
feel the girl is an expendable commodity from which money could be made. And it's one thing I just want to add is that including other consequences of this, it has mental health implications. So folks know that I'm always interested in the mental health of everything.
Yeah.
So research shows that when child marriage happens, that child is very prone to depression and mental stress. And the same research shows that the girl child being prone to depression is not a problem, but getting support is very difficult. That seems to be even the most difficult part of it because when you marry them out at that tender stage, they are not able to build social network and support systems that could provide mental health support yet. So they are shut out from their friends, they are shut out from seeing the world in the first place. And because of the patriarchal system that we face in many cultures around the world, there is control. Most of the times, the child is not even allowed to move physically. They can't even go anywhere that they want to go. Sometimes they are confined to a
See,
room
I
and they
talk
just
say
have
in
to
the
stay
load.
there and
Ownership.
and give birth. And yeah, it's really bad. So
It's
Yeah.
bad.
I
So what I
wanted to.
also, okay, TC.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to comment on what Prince said about what's that English where you get expendable commodity when you send them
yeah,
out just because you want to get money from their marriage. Also, I think some people also push their their adolescent daughters out for marriage because the financial situation in the family is not okay. So they want to push them. So if you have one less, you have less people to take care of. But there was something that you guys mentioned, like how do we I don't know if desensitize is the word, but desensitize people from marriages, because actually I feel like that's the root of the problem. Because first of all, we put marriage as an achievement, a social achievement. So my idea is, if marriage is a social achievement like scholarship, money, house, everything, if it is, so what is stopping me from getting it earlier on in my life course?
So they think the child is achieving it at an early age.
At an early age. So we need to like desensitize ourselves from that concept of marriage is an achievement, which I just wanted to comment on that.
So I also want to, thank you, TC. I also want to talk about people that stand on this and say something like, it is our culture, you are eroding our culture. And it makes me wonder, because what I always say is, man must evolve unless you die. Evolving is something that you will continually do. You continue to see parts of yourself that are not good. There is no influence anywhere. There is no learning from anywhere. It is just us realizing that this is terrible and we need to evolve and change that. So anybody using the culture or saying, this is how we do, this is how it's been in Asia, this is how we're trying to reduce promiscuity in women, it actually does not. Because some people don't gain self-awareness in 18 years. In fact,
honest,
why should
when
you
I was
marry?
18 years, if you met me here, the only thing where they my mind now to play video game, chop,
Really? So if your frontal lobe has not finished developing, and if this psychological process is not complete, so 18 years does not even make sense to me. When you need to test freedom, you need to understand independence, you need to understand some management and all before you start thinking about having a partner.
And
Let's
that
not
is
say
why
Yeah, and
is
the
why
post I saw where they say we should start normalizing like adult marriages, and I fully
what
support that
it's
because
adults that should marry.
I don't think
exactly.
they should be I think we should
You don't
normalize
think
people
anybody
not
should
getting
marry?
married.
No,
you
I'm an
see,
advocate of marriage. I
Oh
support
my,
marriage
I love love
based
and I
on
love marriage,
now see
but
based on what
at the
based
right
on
time
what
with
Fidel
the
is
right
saying
person.
now, based on what Fidel is saying now, this is why what TC said is very important. It's really important because the problem is that a lot of people, they think that marriage is one of the greatest achievements on earth. And I'll give you I have a personal experience, and you know the problem. Sometimes even people who are yet to turn 18, it's already internalized. Because some underage girls already tell you that they are willing to get married. Somebody close to me was married off to her husband when she was still in senior secondary one or something. And I was so mad about it. And I know that people around were telling me,
that's
what are
like
you talking
15
about?
years for contents, 15 or
Before you
so,
know, the
14.
husband would buy her a car. You see how people are thinking. She's going to get married and then the husband buys her a car. And then that's the
Yeah,
problem.
me personally, I knew a lot of persons that married like at the age of 12. And these persons that married at the age of 12, it's not like they don't feel caged or something. It's like they feel happy, they're excited, they even feel like
Exactly.
bigger
Yeah,
than their
because of the
peers. They
environment.
feel like they feel like they've achieved, they are now in a
Yeah.
new phase of achievement that other people have not reached. So like
So I know we are out
What
of
is
time,
the
but I have one
what? Yeah,
solution that will solve
yeah.
this problem.
Solution, please.
One
Yeah,
solution.
solution.
I have one. This is the first time we are having
I
a
know what
magic
you're gonna
bullet.
say.
This is the first time we are having a magic bullet that solves this problem. Let's outlaw marriage. Because if there is no
I don't
marriage,
support
there is
you.
no child marriage. Think
No, I
about
don't
it.
support no.
So
Let's
that
say
is
if you make a law
Yes.
now that
No.
nobody should get married anymore, then no child will be married off.
I
so.
reject
I also
it in the
That's
think
name
not
of my
true.
ancestors.
That's
I
not
also
true.
think I also think
I
that in the last
repeat,
video, Prince said something that if we don't work on the mind, there is not going to be any change. So part of what I do with my
I
organization, I
thought
have
you
an
asked
organization
us. Are you
that
answering the question you asked
I want to
us?
answer. I'm practicing. Allow me answer. Igwe, please. So one of the things that we do
Yakubu manage.
is Yakubu
Manage.
shout
waiting,
a boon.
she don't collect them now.
One of the things we can do is sensitization. And I think that the victims needs to understand what they are doing, because as Hope said, these young girls are admiring it and they want to do it. So, but if you just can be able to teach a young girl to wait and test independence and test financial independence and test self-awareness, they start advocating even more. And the more young girls advocate for, understand that, the more they see that, oh my God, this is even a partnership and this is a lot of work and I should be prepared to enter that. So we have a lot of women to do. Also, women that married in that young age coming more to say that this is a problem and I am an example of that problem.
No. Marriage is like a cult. People who enter it do not share their experience.
They do now. There is more people speaking up.
They don't at all, but it is rare. Like even
It is
people who
rare.
are suffering in their marriage are encouraging you, are telling you it's the best thing that will happen to you. You should marry.
Yeah, a lot of women are living
Because
abusive
marriage
marriages
is good. Marriage is
because
actually a good
that
thing.
gap in marriage.
Hope is indoctrinated. She's telling us
No,
marriage.
no. Marriage is
a good thing.
is yeah.
If you see
Okay.
beautiful marriages, you love it.
See,
Like
I think about it. The two women here are the ones advocating how good marriage
These two other men are not
And the two
talking.
men
They
are
will
looking at
eventually
you.
marry.
But think about it. Do you know that if you look at current research on marriage, it shows that once people get married, the women are more unhappy and are more likely to be depressed within the marriage than the men. Do you know that? Do you know that
I
a lot
agree
of
with
research
that because of
shows
a lot
that
of things
women
that happen.
suffer more in marriage than men?
We suffer
But
more.
Look
We
at the
suffer
two
more.
of you advocating
I
for
think
marriage.
women, aside even marriage, women suffer more in life than men.
Men,
Within
it
the
is
context of marriage, it is worse for
Various
women.
aspects of
no.
society.
It is because of biologically how we are made. As nurturers, no, yes, but yeah, there is a connection to biology.
Okay.
The thing that brings forth in marriage, I know that you will still shout and say, let's people just live together and start producing and not call it marriage. But that is what
shouldn't
actually
produce.
is.
That way,
The
woman
name
is
does not
not
have any problem. What should we
Yeah.
call it? We should call it cohabitation. It is still marriage. If you live with your girlfriend and you are producing children, you are married.
And
shouldn't
So-
produce
it's
children.
not called cohabitation.
Okay, if you don't want to produce children, that's fine still. So women naturally want to nurture something. It's biological. They like to tend something. Even women with their plants, even women with their dogs, their cats, they have this affinity. So the aftermath of what society has constructed as what marriage produces is what some women long for, which is majorly kids.
And
I'm
I
telling
think
you,
this
unless
is
you don't want
where-
kids. Most women that don't want kids are not getting married. I'm telling you, if you look at the statistics. So it is to do it right. Personally, there is option A to Z for me. And if it comes, fine. If it does not come, I'm already a happy girl.
Yeah.
And I'll have more time to travel and more time to
Let's
impact the
end
world.
this video because time done.
Okay, so
Yeah, but
thank you guys.
Oh my God.
Hope wants to say something. She wants to finish
Okay,
her advocacy.
yeah, I just wanted to say like the solution, because Fida talked about like, educating girls and telling them about, the dangers and stuff. But I feel like it goes beyond educating the girls, because some of these people, it is not in their power. It's the power of the community or their parents, like they were pushed
Okay.
into it. So I feel like it is not just educating the girl. The girls could have knowledge, but they don't have a
Word.
say.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is also like educating the parents, the community, like changing that culture.
So
I don't know if you get.
educating the community and massively arresting men who get married to minors.
Like, I also feel like I feel like this issue should not also
Arrest
be
these
like
people and
based on.
prosecute them.
But
I
you
feel
cannot
like
arrest them if
I
it's
feel
not
like
a
this issue
criminal
should also not
offense
be like
yet.
relative.
I know,
this-
Sha, but
this
there should
state
be
or
a
this
civil
state,
procedure
based
to
on this
tackle
state
it.
law, based on this state law. I feel like it should be like a universal law. So it shouldn't be like a
because of some sort of religion, it is still under this thing code in so many countries. States can decide what they want and what it is called. But otherwise, thank you so much, guys. We want your opinion. We might have a chapter 2 and
I
it's an
want
ongoing
people's, because
discussion.
this is a heated argument. I want
Yeah.
to hear people's
Please.
opinion in the comments.
Please, should we follow Prince and ban
we
marriage?
outlaw
Should we
marriage?
ban marriage?
Can I have people voting for us to outlaw marriage?
Who is
I
for
bet
praise.
you if they
Is it-
I'm
found
not
marriage,
voting.
it
I'm
will
not
not
Is it
voting.
work
possible
I
you
want
don't
to
just
get
not
married to a
voting thing they put on
beautiful,
Instagram,
a
put it
beautiful
in the
wife.
comments.
Put the
Let's
poll.
see.
Should
Let's
we
outlaw
marry? Should we
marriage.
scrape marriage
No, I
and
want
just
to.
cohabit?
I want to marry a fine woman.
Bye bye.
And there is one girl Ima is keeping in his Instagram.
Emma,
You want to mention names?
So,
If we just
okay.
give a mother woman as a bounty, could they produce scholarly research on a very high
If
level?
you give me the woman, that woman, why me? If please start this thing, I go say, pray. Come on here.